What's up, guys? Welcome back, man. Thanks for coming back and welcome to the latest edition of the Sim Standard Podcast, guys. Myself, SimFBallCritic, along with Smitty and AzureEffect as well. Azure will be back soon, guys, but we're going to always continue to say that so you guys are well reminded that, yes, he is still a part of the show. Right now, got a couple things that we want to talk about tonight, man. So, I want to speed this along because we definitely want to, stay within the 2 hours tonight and be done around 10 or right at 10 and things of that nature. So, we're going to try to speed up our intro and all that. So, we'll dive right into letting you know what the topics are. And then we'll do our quick, analysis or recap on last week's game. Of course, the Steelers and the Lions played. So, we'll give our quick thoughts on that and then we'll move right along. All right, no panel guests tonight, guys, so we don't have an additional panelist. Depending on how the show goes, we're always open to have somebody come on for a quick question or two. So we'll see how it goes. But first and foremost, what we want to talk about, man, is, this is something I mentioned to Smitty, but offline, and it's something that we've talked about in the past, man, but I think it's important to revisit it. Is it possible to replicate real life random outcomes in a video game? We'll dive more into that because it leads into the next topic. Is target passing a realistic feature? And I'll explain to you guys why I'm connecting those two. Some of you may have seen the video I did a few hours ago, but I'll explain to you why we're asking that question and how it relates to target passing. Also, do the Madden devs consider the impact of CPU gameplay when they implement patches and tuner updates? For example, the pancake glitch that we're seeing when you use pass commit. This came from one of our viewers. Shout outs to at Steelers Spartan on Twitter. He's a Steelers fan as well. He follows me with Terrible Towel Tuesday, so I appreciate you, man, for that. But that is his topic as well. We have another one from C Mad at Me. Another person that me and Smitty talk to a lot on Twitter. Question is, does physics really exist in Madden? There was an article or a PDF or what have you that circulated this week that would illustrate that maybe the physics are placebo or maybe it's pre-scripted or what have you. So that's really what the question is. And I'm interested to see you guys comments in the chat about that. So me and Smitty will give our thoughts on that as well. And then here's another one from another follower at master_keys on Twitter. He says, has splitting up the community between sim and competitive, has that made things better or worse? So we'll give our thoughts on that. And last but not least, I have other here. So anything that comes up or will arise in the comment section, y'all know we'll dive into that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Smitty, first and foremost, I mean, we kind of talked during the game, but what are your initial thoughts, man, on your Lions? Not even really just the game, but how you feeling about the Lions right now? I know that the division is still wide open. In my opinion, I mean, Minnesota is up, but I still think the Lions, me personally, seeing them, play and having a chance to really watch a whole game, I think they definitely got the talent. Not even if it wasn't the talent, I think they have the ability to put up points, and they have a pretty good defense. And I think you guys can still fight in that division. But how do you feel overall about your team, man, after that performance off of a bye week?
Man, I mean, it was very disappointing. You know what I mean? Because to be brutally honest, we should beat y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should have won the game. I mean, it's crazy for it to be that close, but as close as it was. But I mean, once again, I'll say this. I mean, look, excuse me, Lions defense can only do but so much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing. They're bound to make plays. They're bound to drive the ball downfield. I mean, you're only going to stop Le'Veon Bell but so much. You're only going to hold Antonio Brown down but so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody's going to make a play, and that happened. And the thing is, the Lions didn't punch it into the end zone. And, some people will say, Steelers locked them down no, they didn't lock them down like that. We dropped the ball. Like, we literally dropped it. Darren Fells had the ball thrown to him twice. One of them was a legit breakup. The first one, though, you got to come down with that. Because my man didn't even hit the ball. He hit him with his arm. He didn't even hit the ball. Like, he didn't hit the catching arm or nothing. My man just ain't pull it in. You had Marvin Jones on another one. Jumped up, hands right there. You got to bring that sucker in. You got to bring that in. And then you had TJ Jones on the sideline. That sideline catch he did, he stepped out of bounds. That's more of an awareness kind of thing. If he had seen the sideline beforehand, yeah, he would have fell down a bit further, but he still could have made that catch because Stafford put that boy right where only he could have got it. So we should have got 3 touchdowns. And like cats on the radio talking about how Stafford ain't on that level with Rodgers and all them. I'm like, no. The receivers got to catch the ball. It's not Stafford's fault that these dudes didn't catch it. You know what I'm saying? Every time I seen us get toward the end zone, toward the red zone, and we get stopped, I'm like, dang it. More likely we ain't going to get in there. You know what I'm saying? Like when Ebron, everybody was booing him and everything. He makes a play, and then he gets stopped right in the red zone. That's what I'm like, dang, we don't have anything. And see, people say on the radio still, man, we should have got LeGarrette Blount. It wouldn't have mattered who we got. Your line has to block. You got to create the openings. You had the St. Louis Rams. Well, yeah, they were still in St. Louis at the time. Well, no, excuse me. I think they just switched to LA, but they had that two-way player. My man, I forgot my man's name. He played both wide receiver and halfback at times. He was split it with Gurley. And you got to be able to run because you got a line. I mean, yes, you have to have your field vision, but at the same time, you got to have a line that creates those opportunities. That's the whole thing. With that, you got the Packers with Montgomery. That dude's a wide receiver, and they just put him at halfback. It's because they had a dang on line, man. If they don't have a line, if your team does not have a line, it doesn't matter who you have at halfback. Excuse me, they're not going to do jack. And that's the problem with the Lions is that our line is not good enough for a run game. It doesn't matter. Abdullah is not a bad running back. Washington is not bad either, nor is Zach Zenner, even though he's still been inactive, but they're not bad backs at all. It's just that you have to have the blocking. You have to have sufficient blocking for the run. That's literally it. If you don't have it, it's not going to happen. It's going to be hard for you to push the pile. That's the whole thing. Look, does Cam Newton, when Cam was out there running around, scrambling and doing his thing and all that, was it because he had great field vision as a runner? Field vision? No, it was because his line gave him the protection. It created the avenue so he could run through them. That huge dude was able to do all that running. So it makes a difference. You got to have those avenues, man. And that's the other thing, too. Look, Bob Quinn, he's doing his thing with building this team, but we need some playmakers. We need some guys. I mean, it ain't got to be it doesn't have to be the biggest name out there and all that stuff. I mean, if you could get them, cool. But if not, whether it's through draft, whether it's through free agency, somebody on the practice squad that's something on somebody's practice squad, whatever. But we need some playmakers. We need guys that are going to secure those catches. Because Stafford hit these dudes on the numbers. I'm sorry. It's not like they had to reach back behind them and they had to overextend themselves and all that. They had the opportunities to make the plays, and they didn't make them. I'm not saying every wide receiver is going to make every single play. But at the same time, though, they need to make, like, when it matters, we need to make some of them plays. There's no reason all those trips to the end zone, what they say, 500 plus yards of offense and no touchdowns. Come on, dude. Like, that's ridiculous, man. So that's why I said it's got to do better. We got to do better. And I mean, but like I said, I got to give it to the Steelers because Even though, and that's the thing, even though Big Ben made some, he threw some bad passes. I mean, he threw some bad passes, boy. That one at least should have been picked because of where it was thrown at. What's his name? Glover Quinn. He just read that other interception he got from Brown. He just saw that the whole way. He saw it, eyed it, gunned it down, snatched it. So Brown could have possibly got it, but the thing was, Quinn had the beat on it before Brown did, so he wasn't going to get there first.
Should have never threw that.
Yeah, well, I don't
people
know
in the area.
But you know what though, Sim? Looking at the replay though, if Quinn wasn't there, Brown would have been the only one that could have got it.
If Quinn,
nobody else was there. But yeah, but Quinn had to come across the field though. If he wasn't looking at it though, he wouldn't have even made that beat to it. That's what I'm saying. Like that was I mean, that was more of a risky throw, but it would have paid off though. If we didn't have somebody as good as Quinn back there, it would have paid off. More than likely, either Brown would have caught it or it would have just been a slight overthrow. That's what I'm saying. Like in terms of that one, but it was a good game though to watch. Like it definitely was entertaining. Oh yes, and that's the other thing too. Golden Tate fumbling the ball like that.
Oh God, major,
bro, man.
Major.
How you gonna catch it? You gonna catch it, come down with it. No one touches you, and then you just squirt it out. Major. Now, how many of y'all want to see that in simulation mode? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me right now, how many of y'all want to
patch?
Exactly. Yep. Like, how many of y'all want to see something like that happen in sim mode? See, so that's what I'm saying, though. But you know, but no, it was a good game, man. Like, it was a good, entertaining. Like for football, that was an entertaining game. I definitely enjoyed it from that standpoint. But yeah, Lions, we gotta. That's been a problem for so long. Is us. Like we could drive all the way downfield and make every play possible. But as soon as we get in that red zone territory, that's where all of a sudden the ball just drops. And we can't get past the goal line. It just doesn't make sense to me why we can't. But I don't know. That's the mystery that's got to be solved. And Cooter doing what he could do. Austin doing everything he could do. He defensive coordinator of the year as far as I'm concerned. All the work he doing, but we got to offensively do it because our defense, they're going to get worn down and tired. They can't just keep playing and keep playing. They can't go out there so quick. We got to actually sustain drives and finish them. Give those dudes confidence to go out there and get the ball back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give them a reason. Other than, all right, let's try to keep these guys from scoring. Like, no, like, give them the reason. Come on. Get back to that. They were doing it at the beginning of the season. That's what I need to see them get back to that and do that. Like, really, turn that ship around in that red zone. For real. But I'll throw it to you, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, mostly, I mean, I'll even comment on that real quick. That's really what killed the Lions was the red zone, man. The fourth down stops. Did just not being able to get in the end zone. I mean, you think you cannot go come away from an NFL game with 5 field goals. They just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got, I mean, I can see if it's great defense, they ain't letting you get in the red zone and you kicking 45, 50 yarders all game. That's a different story. But you cannot be inside the 10 that many times and don't come up with anything. I like Caldwell. I think he's a good coach. But again, I don't get paid to coach an NFL team, but I disagree with that first fourth down attempt. At that point, I was like, nah, you should have kicked because the Steelers we won't necessarily scoring a lot of points. I would have kicked at that moment. I get why he went for it, but then it kind of forced you later in the game where you're in a situation like, dang, do we kick or shouldn't we kick? And he ended up kicking. But yeah, man, that's what killed y'all. I mean, people was killing me on Twitter, Smitty, because I said I'm glad to see that the Steelers face a real quarterback now because all of that number one pass defense, yeah, we've improved, but we hadn't played any. When I say real quarterbacks, guys, stop taking everything so literal. I'm talking about a nice quarterback with arm talent, you know, a guy who really gets it done. That was Matt Stafford. Some of those passes, this dude was There were blown coverages. There was a few, but if you really look at the film, it was times where Stafford was just fitting it in that cover 2 zone, man, before the safety could get there. I mean, pinpoint accurate. I'm glad to see that, me personally, as a fan, because I'm like, now we get to see going into the bye. Now they know what they need to work on. You ain't as good as you thought. And we still, everybody knows, if you're still a fan, the way it's shaping up now, are they going to beat New England? Because for some, I guess you call it luck of the Irish or whatever, just using a term there. I'm really sorry to hear about Deshaun Watson, man. That really sucks.
Oh, yeah.
But the Steelers, I mean, it's almost like we ain't gonna face none of the people that I would have feared this year. No Andrew Luck. We're not gonna play probably not Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson is a guy that you thought could have given us problem because he's playing great and he can run. He's out. And it's almost like, I mean, look at the quarterbacks that they got to face. Brady is still there. So it's almost like this is the year, man, if you're going to really try to make a run. But we'll see. We'll see. But I really say, man, I think the Steelers, I can't get on them about red zone offense as bad this game because there were 2 big drops in the red zone. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Eli Rogers on that first drive. I mean, bruh. It's right in your hand. you score right there. You set a different tone of the game because, I don't care what team it is. Even when you play defense, and if you've ever played sports before, you might not get down, but it do shell shock you a little bit when a team just drive right down the field and score. And you're like, oh, boy, it's going to be one of these games. To drop that, Ben missed Haywood Bay. So, I mean, both of us can have complaints about the red zone. But I think it was a great game, man. I just think, like I said, looking at the talent that you guys showed on field, offensively, clearly you guys can move the ball. And I think y'all probably still got enough defense to compete in that division. I'm not sold on the Vikings. Not yet. Really not. Not quite yet. We'll see. So I think y'all might be all right, man. Green Bay is probably out of the mix. And the Bears, we already know about that. So it was a good game, but you're right. It was I just didn't like it from I got to be harsh real quick and then we'll move on. I'll keep telling y'all, Ben ain't the same, man. And I'm not saying that to knock him. He's 35. It's year 14. He's not the same Ben Roethlisberger. He was missing throws that he don't miss. I mean, where everybody talks about the huge play to Juju Smith-Schuster, which was great, but look at the play right before that. Jesse James is wide open, butt naked open. This dude is 6'7". How you miss him? It was a lot of passes, man, that if you look at just that game and even earlier in the season, Ben is missing a lot of passes. He just might not be the same guy. You know what? I accept it. If it's just father time or whatever, hey, I'm cool. Thank you for your service, sir. You did a great job. We got to move on. But he's not the same. I think we can still win with him. I think he still has the talent there somewhere. But that consistency, that ain't there no more. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But let's move on, shall we? What we want to dive into first, Smitty, man? Let's see. Let me take a look at these topics again. We might as well go right into the random stuff because I want to tie that in with the target passing situation. So we'll go ahead and kick that off, and I'll go ahead and start it just so you can kind of know where I was going with this one.
All right.
Here's the thing, guys. Y'all heard us say this many times. We'll talk about specifically with Madden, but keep in mind, this could be for any sports title. All of the games that we've played. Is it possible to replicate random outcomes in a game where us as the audience, the gamers, will accept it? Prime example, I just talked about Big Ben. It happened. We all saw it. This dude was throwing passes all over the place. Sailing balls, throwing in the, but how can Madden replicate that to where we're okay with it? Now, to tie these 2 points together, let's talk about target passing real quick. I did a video earlier today. Some of you guys may have seen it. If you haven't, feel free to check it out. Basically, I was tagged in a conversation on Twitter. The guy gives good feedback, and you know, I gave him some quick feedback. Let me say this real quick too, guys. When you give your feedback, just consider the fact that you're giving it to another human being, and outside of that, another man. So kind of chill with the language, man. You know, chill with the F this F. Come on. And the reason why I say that is because think about it. When you get something like that, do you listen to it? No. Anytime dudes come at me, like, and even if it ain't about me, if they trying to make a point and they all, man, what the F? I'm like, I'm not even paying it attention because I'm like, you can't even bring it to me in a professional manner. And I'm not trying to call my man out. That's why I'm not saying his name. But I wrote back to him with, I said, okay, first of all, great feedback. But you got to have all that language, though, because you might not get your stuff listened to because you got to think. I've been in the studio where Rex and them will play feedback in a crowd of people. Anybody could be in there. It could be an exec. You know, it could be and Smitty knows these names. You know, Sean Grady could be in there, or your Roy Harvey's, any of these guys. And that just puts a negative connotation on it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
be constructive, but be professional. That's first and foremost. So anyway, and he's saying, you know, how bad the inaccurate pass was, which it was. It was a fairly short pass out to like the flat earlier. You know, it looks like it may have been an out pattern. I didn't really dissect it that much, but it was relatively short. Sails the ball way over the receiver, goes right to the defender. Excuse me. Now, here's the second part. We all know that there's been a problem in Madden for some years now where it seems like balls a lot of times go right to the defender when it's inaccurate, especially on all Madden. You know, we'll borrow a term that Versus used to say. It might be Skynet kicking in.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy stuff, right? We've seen that. So I agree with that part. I also agree with the part about I don't like the randomness, but how do we replicate it to where it's believable? Because even if we're going to say, make their feet set, if their feet is set, it's going to be accurate. You can't say that. Think about what I'm saying. This football game here tonight is about to come on. I guarantee you we see inaccurate passes here tonight.
Always.
So how can they implement it? And I'm being serious here. This is not a joke. You know, I'm being very serious. How can they replicate it to where we will accept it? So in terms of target passes, Smitty, before I throw it to you, Clint replies back and he says, hey, well, you know, I'd recommend utilizing target passing. Now, I will say this as well, because Clint is probably listening. Clint, no, you know, that's my guy. But I will say this as well. You guys have to get used to how Clint responds, because if to the naked eye, the way he replied, it almost came off like, hey, well, why don't you just do this instead? But that's not how he's saying it. Clint is one of those. Clint is like, remember how like your mom or dad used to answer you when they knew you, you know, like they'd just be like, well, you know what to do. He does that a lot to kind of play with those who are providing feedback in a sense, like to kind of throw it back at you like, oh, okay, well, since you're going off so much about that, you could easily just do this. It's not like he's trying to dismiss the point that we're making here. But it is funny sometimes because I'd be looking back from afar and I'd be like, oh, he just shut him down real quick. But anyway, he suggested use target passing. Then he came back and said, you know, target passing, it eliminates the random. And it does. Using target passing, you can put the ball wherever you want it. It takes all of that stuff out of the way. It takes the random. It actually it really does take away ratings because they don't have ratings factored into that as far as accuracy. So he was suggesting, well, look, you're right, but for now, you could use target passing as a tool, and it's in your control. So I made the video showing people that because I hear this all the time too, Smitty. A lot of people that tell me, man, target passing it's hard. And I'm like, well, let's be honest. Shout outs to 757. He said this a while back. You got to be willing to do things that's going to give you the competitive edge. Being able to utilize more buttons and this and that and the third. Now, Smitty, I might as well say this too, because I want you to answer all of this. And this is really the part about target passing. is it a realistic feature? Because the argument people will give me back is they'll say, well, you can't move in the pocket when you're using it. And I'm like, well, you're right, but you can click off of it, move, and then click back on. You just got to be quick. I've done it. Now, I can't do it that fast. Like, I'm sure some competitive guy or some, hardcore guy that really can learn all the mechanics on the run and all of that. I haven't been able to master it, but I have been able to avoid pressure, move in the pocket, let go, click again, because when you do the right click, the cursor is right there, move it and get the ball out. So I guess the question is it realistic in terms of being able to do it? And is it realistic in terms of kind of simulating the time you have in the pocket? Because you can't just stay in there all day, and I want to hear your thoughts on all of that. So just to recap, man, what I said, because I know I was going there for a moment. How do we replicate random outcomes where we all will accept it? And also tying in the target passing feature. Is that a realistic thing in terms of being able to use it? And do you like it kind of mimicking the little bit of time that you really have in the pocket to use it?
As far as like putting in any realistic mechanics, it'll never really go well, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to a video game, people want to win. They want that sense of accomplishment, whether it's a particular play or excuse me, or pass they threw, tackle they were able to break, things like that. They want to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And just like you said with the mechanics bit, because like, okay, look, take Ultimate Team, for example. You have tons and tons of people that get upset because, man, I played in this weekend league. Man, I played these challenges and all I got was this. And they get upset because they expect to get these ultra elite of the elite of the elite cars. They expect this grand reward for playing the game. It's a game. It's like, see, watching football games with all that chaotic stuff going on is just like playing. It's just like collecting cards. It's random. I could buy 8 boxes of football cards looking for that special edition Barry Sanders, that limited edition that's one in who knows how many packs. And I don't get it. But then somebody, Jimmy or whomever it is, walks to the corner store, go in there, and they just buy 2 packs, and they end up getting 2 of them in 1 pack. I done bought boxes. I went to the card show. I done went to the card shop. I done went to comic book shows and all that stuff where they sell these packs and everything. I didn't done all that, and I didn't get it. I got a bunch of cards. I got all different kinds of cards, but I didn't get the one that I truly wanted. I didn't even get that elite type. But this cat over here gets it, and he just bought 2 packs. I'm being enraged about it because, man, I put in all that effort, right, to get these packs. I should get it. And that's the logic, though, of how it is out here with this game. As dynamic of a sport it is with football, people can't handle the randomness that happens because it's something that there's going to be variables of control that are going to be out of your hands. And because of that, they don't like it. Even with the target control, the target pass control, I would still like to see the players' ratings take effect.
Right.
Even though I can't control the pass. If I have Colin Kaepernick or whomever it is, and they're not good at throwing the deep ball, I could use the target passing and say, I want it to be thrown at this spot. But if my accuracy rating is 72, it should, you know what I'm saying? I should still be able to throw that pass slightly off target at times because my dude's skill rating is not that good. You see what I'm saying? Yes, you're putting it in my hands, but it still has to play true to my skill rating. That's what That's what I loved about read and lead. That's what I loved about the vision cone, because it was not pinpoint. It was still, you got to get in that vision cone. Like if you had that vision cone, yes, depending upon how big that cone was, that's how much of an accurate window.
That joint was the whole field.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you ain't even have to adjust it. You just threw it. You know what I'm saying? But that was the challenge of it. If you threw outside of that cone, you may throw an accurate pass, but at the same time, it's as if you're not even looking at the receiver, but you want to throw it that direction.
Right.
You're throwing an inaccurate pass more than likely. And that's the kind of stuff that I like.
And real quick, while you're on that, just so I can say this and don't forget it, just to give them a glimpse as to how the devs think, because Smitty will remember this when we was at EA Play, and we brought that up in a feedback session, and the devs was saying, "You're right. It should be like that." It was like, but their idea was just implementing the feature to get people used to it, and they actually turned out to be right, because look at how the feedback has been about it up to this point. So imagine if the people who are having such a tough time using it, also you had like your ratings built in, and that was why they said that's why we didn't do that now. Maybe not even maybe, it is something that they would build on, if target passing stays. So just wanted you guys to know those are the kinds of conversations we have and the thought process with these guys. It's like very rarely that I know of, and Smitty can answer this as well, that they just throw something in without any type of reason to why they did it that way or didn't do it this way. So just giving y'all some insight on that.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's true. That's true. And that was the key point, because I was a little bit bummed, because I was like, man, I wanted it to be rating based though, but then I also understood that as well, because I'm like, yeah, using that target passing is not no easy feat. It's something you gotta put time in the lab with and really, get used to using that. And I mean, I was looking at some of the comments on Sim's video even that he did earlier, and you got to understand, when you watch NFL Network, ESPN, and all that, and they actually break down how much time these guys have in the pocket, they have less than 3 seconds to get that ball out, regardless of how deep they're trying to throw that ball. They typically only have 3 seconds max. So when it comes to getting that ball out that quick, and you got to stand still when you throw the ball, it's going to take skill. That means you may have to shift your line. You may have to ID the mic, and at the same time position yourself to throw that ball to that receiver. And what if that receiver you originally intended to throw it to was covered? You got to switch to a different receiver and move the stick. That's a lot of practice. That's why I said, look, this is why we said get in the practice field. You got to spend some quality time and get real familiar in that practice field and do some work out there. That's why when we talk about the game changing, and even 757, we talked about this stuff many times over. When people want the game to change and evolve and be this organic experience in regards of what it is that we have going on Sundays, guys, there's going to be frustration you're going to have to come to terms with in terms of that actually happening, because see, and that's the whole thing. We got to get over, like as a whole, you have to get, I won't say get over, but you have to get used to the fact that you're going to have what's the best way I could put it to basically make it quicker? Madden, okay, look, here it is. Just like how competitive gamers, they want to play Street Fighter on the football field. They want to make every pass. They want to catch every ball. They want to pick every, pass off, regardless of what their skill rating is, right? That's that crowd. But in the sim crowd, though, we want everything to matter. We want player movement, feet being set, pass protection, ID in the mic, your offensive formation. What did they do on defense against you? We want all that stuff to happen, right? We want it all to happen. We basically want Dark Souls. We want Bloodborne to happen on the football field for us. It's so hard of a challenge. We want Neo. We want it to be that hard of a challenge. Like guess what's about to happen? You gonna die a bunch of times. You ain't got to worry. You ain't gonna run through this game here and win. You gonna lose. You're going to die. You're going to get upset. We're gonna make you want to shut the console off because football happening like that. That's how we talk about it. But many of us that say we want it can't handle that. And see, that's where Rex and the team get put between a rock and a hard place, especially with the comp crowd. I give them all the props in the world because those dudes, like, what they want to have. You want to see what happens on Sundays, but you want it in an arcade fashion. That's hard to do. Even with what we want, it's hard to do because ultimately people want to be able. I want to be able to execute. I want to be able to execute simulation football, but I want to win. Okay, so play on rookie. Now we're talking about difficulty levels on sim. And I'm saying, give me the ultimate simulation experience. I want Bloodborne and Dark Souls. That's all Madden. How it needs to be. It needs to be the feeling of balance with all pro, but give me that AI that's on all Madden. Not the cheating stuff, but put that balance, hybrid the two. And you got a great setting there, but give me the football. And I'm telling you, that will be the merger that we need to get the game that we truly want. So, excuse me. So even to what Sim's pointing out, stuff that happens on Sundays every week, man, I love to see happen. I was messaging Rex the other day. Man, seeing Antonio Brown and Slay jostling all up and down the field like that, refs just letting them go. I'm like, dog, that just makes me think of FIFA so bad.
Gotta have it, man.
I'm like, come on, you got to have that in there. Like that. I'm like, we need that in the game, dude. That's that jostling. I'm like, that's how you could tell the tale of the tape. What happened on that route? You know what I'm saying? What happened in that game? What's the storyline that we could go by? Oh, man, and we need to be able to see every instant replay, not just certain ones, every single play. You got the whole highlight reel there. We need to see it all. So that way, when stuff is happening, I can look back on the plays and I can see the organic interaction. How did he get positioned to get that INT? Oh, man, he bumped him. He did this. He did that. They ain't call a penalty on this one, but they called it next time. See, I would love see, and that's one thing too. How far can the NFL stretch when it comes to officiating? Can we actually get the officials and their tendencies in the game? MLB The Show does it too. But I know the show does it. We need the referees' tendencies, like how you got some dudes, the ball will clearly cut across that strike zone. Dudes won't call it. You can even challenge it and they won't call it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we need things to be on that level. I mean, trust and believe. There are many other things that need to be done first. But what I'm saying is that in the process of doing this, start to bring these aspects in. This year we got one referee. Next year we got now we got the other referees. You know what I'm saying? That kind of what I mean is like that, like cyclically, just start to build it up more and more. But I know I'm kind of going all over the grid. And I'm sorry, Sim. I know you asked me questions in a certain order, but
oh, you good, man.
You know, I'm just saying that we need to see Steelers Spartan. That's a good point. I agree with what you're saying. Having more jam animations at the line, but see, I'd rather it be just an organic interaction. FIFA has that. You know, it's not jamming at the line. They're not putting hands on each other like that. But what I'm saying is the jostle that you see there. I mean, hey, they got pulling the jerseys and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it would be cool to see dudes be subtle and pull the jersey and then try to put their hands up like, hey, if he fell over, that ain't on me. You see that they do it on the,
You need
Yeah.
contextual That's what I think. That's what Smitty is saying.
Yeah.
Which I know that's what he's saying, because we talk all the time. We need that contextual. I mean, the animations are cool, of course. You got to have animations in the game, but I want to see it contextually play out to where it's not always. I mean, there is some in Madden, but it needs to be more of that. Like, oh, you know, he's a little too far past me. Let me grab him. Let me, you know what I mean? Like, organically play out. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. And Ray, you can replicate human error in the game. FIFA does it. When you have a guy that's not that great at handling the ball and you pressure him enough, he'll mess around and trip over his own feet. I've seen that happen numerous times over the years, me playing FIFA. So it can be done. So I can't that I got to disagree with. It can be done. That's why when I saw that in EA's own house, I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, we need Madden to get whatever it is that's going on with FIFA. We need to get that going in Madden, so then we can see those kind of mistakes and errors happen, because it happens. And the thing is, it's not Madden is a scripted sequence. You know, like 2-man sequential animation plays out. FIFA, it's not a 2-man sequence. It's this player did this, and that's the outcome based off of whatever factors go around them, going on around them. That's why when I look at replays, or if I make video or something, I could tell you the story as to why this player reacted the way they did, because I pressured him with this guy. I pressured him with that guy. He's not a good ball handler, as you can visually see it, and he tried to do too much with it and lost it. Like it's like a center trying to bring the ball up court like he a point guard. You know what I'm saying? You never would have saw Yao Ming or Sean Bradley bring the ball up the floor and start crossing over and taking it through their legs. They lose the ball just like that. It's the same kind of situation, except they do it in FIFA. There is an 11 player tackling a soccer. Well, but
you gotta stop using that as an excuse.
All you do is tailor it for football, man. There's still 22 players on the field, so it doesn't matter. You could just tailor it. If it's a one-on-one interaction, and you try to do too much, let's say you try to juke. This is simply put. Let's say you juke the first defender, you spin move off the second defender, and you try to truck the third guy, and he ends up blowing you up. The ball physics are a lot more sensitive. The ball and player physics are more sensitive to each other. So that means that, yes, you have the ball, you could secure the ball even, but because he's so gassed, he ends up getting hit and it ends up squirting out because he used up all his energy evading the first two guys, and you're mashing on the turbo because you're trying to take it even further. That stuff does happen because you'll see a football player on the field try and do too much, trying to get extra yardage or whatever the case, and they end up fumbling. That's all, so that's the kind of stuff you just got to tailor it for football. So, but no, I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
That's simple, man. And we're going to get 757 in here in a moment. Let me go ahead and send his invite because I know he commented as well in the chat saying he liked Vision Cone better. My thing was, and I don't all the way remember, so you guys can help me with that. I'm sure Smitty could. If I'm not mistaken, well, let me just say my piece on what I like about target passing over the Vision Cone. I love the Vision Cone. I thought that was one of the most sim aspects at the time because you especially the quarterback followed the cone. So even when you're playing somebody, like if it was couch play, it was almost like even if you're using controlling somebody, you're viewing it the same way a player would on the field because you looking at that cone trying to decide where is he passing it to. And even still, if it was two guys in that area, you still don't know which one it was going to based on that cone size. So it was dope. But I think, in my opinion, if there was a way to kind of marry the two, I think target passing is better, in my opinion, for ball placement. I don't remember Vision Cone allowing like crazy, like pinpoint placement. I knew it, it dictated where you threw the ball, but I think target passing as an element of being like, again, not self-promoting, but like the video I posted, the way I was able to put that ball, only where Juju was gonna get it. And I've done that numerous times, even against users. Now, I will say it's not the easiest thing to use because, again, you do lose mobility, so you got to be quick. But I think there's a huge element of, like, vision. This thing, target passing could be huge. Definitely could find some ways to tweak it, but I love what they initially tried to do. And, with anything, it's not going to be perfect out the gate. It's up to all of us to say what we like and dislike. But that's the only thing I would say that I would prefer where they're going with target passing more so than just putting vision cone back in there. Just because of, because y'all, what I used to always say, along with Smitty, along with Azure, we were all about ball placement. So target passing, I could almost say that was one of my babies. Like, I really kept preaching that, and then finally it happened. So I love the idea, even though it could be done a little better. Another thing I wanted to say, what Smitty was saying too, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got to stop using this football excuse as far as, well, it's 22 people. Listen, I understand that. Me and Smitty used to make that argument all the time. But with technology, the way it is now, there has to be a way to find that sweet spot where these things can happen on a football field. You look at Backbreaker. It was happening. Was Backbreaker a great game? No. It didn't have all the bells and whistles. It was ugly at times. It was a full-blown physics thing, which in turn made it ugly at times. But it did show you, oh, whoa, like, that's possible. So there has to be a way to make it, the marriage has to come into play, which I think that's what EA has done, which is, this is funny, Smitty, is rolling us into the next topic, and I'll hold it. I want to see if 757 comes in first, but we're going to talk about, there is physics or isn't physics in Madden. But it kind of ties that point together right there. But I'll hold that until till after he comes on and makes his point. But yeah, Smitty, I think we got to stop making that excuse, man. I mean, yeah, it's 11 on 11, but they got to find a way to make it happen. I mean, it is happening in FIFA. No 11 on 11 is not interacting on every play, but the baseline is there. So there has to be a way, even with, if you take what Clint said about Madden 17, it was, because I didn't get the interview with Clint this year, my mistake. But in that interview, remember he talked about weight being a part of the formula in the trenches, not where we want it yet, but it's there. So there you go. If they find a way to allow those physics to play at all times, because in case y'all don't know this, Smitty, I guess we spilling a little bit of tea here. We're not going to get in trouble. The physics is not, just last year, if I'm not mistaken, was when they really start opening the physics a little more to each player. But at one time, it wasn't like that. It was just in a controlled area. Like, oh, here's where the tackle is happening, physics is on. But you go look at the replay, it won't happen in the trenches. It won't happen in the off ball. And it's still not quite where we want it, but it's possible. So that's all we're saying. I know it's possible. They just got to find a way to do it. We got 757 on real quick. We'll get him on, let him spit his gospel. And then let's Smitty, did you have a quick thing?
If someone wants to say real quick, when you're talking about Madden like 06 with the vision cone and everything, you could throw it to an open space and place it where you wanted to. It's just you're basically just moving the cone to where you wanted to throw it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
So you could still do it. So like that's why with guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, you could be just masterful because their cone was over the whole field, whereas guys like Vic and McNabb and such had that smaller cone. So yeah, but you could point it to a vicinity where the receiver would possibly end up and just throw it over that way. So you could do it. I just wanted to add that on when you were saying it.
Yeah, real quick, 7-5, before you come on, I see Jump 2 Raw said he loved the way it was done in FIFA. I agree. Yes. Because to me, target passing is closer to what was done in NFL FIFA. That's why I like it. But, of course, as we continue, we give our feedback. It could be ways to enhance it. But 7-5, man, what's going on, brother? What you got for us?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. And one of the biggest things for me was that I was just sitting back and kind of taking it all in, right? When we first started this where we were going with Madden, right? You guys kind of start putting certain things in place as far as where the future was going, how we had a great development team, but also how we had to be patient. I get that. One of my biggest frustrations, because our world is different than the competitive world because we're in CFMs, right? We're dealing with a lot of things. We're dealing with XP. We're dealing with confidence. We're dealing with 32 users within a certain hub. And my biggest frustration is whatever they give us, we just want those certain aspects to work better than what they have. I'm really frustrated with this launch as far as things like, for instance, we know that guys are running the ball. I get it. The passing game is a little difficult. But my problem is when I know guy is in a 12 personnel, 13 personnel, I know he's running the counter. It's very obvious. And I pick my backside linebacker, but I still get tied into a counter animation when I know he's going outside. Those things are frustrating to me because I feel like I don't have total control.
Right.
That was one of the things that we talked about, that we want to have aspects that we have more control over our players. Now, if I can't take my linebacker and start running to the outside to be the force defender on the counter, and I get pulled into an animation, it frustrates the user because you still feel like I know where he's going, I know what he's doing, but I still don't have certain controls over it. I'm still getting pulled into every animation that takes place. You don't feel like you have control over it. And I'm pretty sure that you guys can talk better about why that situation is going on. But those frustrations of being tied to something that I don't want to be tied to, even if I'm controlling that guy, when I can only control one user out of the 11 guys that's on the field. The other thing is players are disappearing, things are dropping, and I'm just like, okay, EA. The frustration from a user is we'll deal with whatever that you bring to us. Okay, whatever that the game presents, whatever the time frame is, but whatever that you're presenting to us, especially this year, a lot of those aspects that you said that we weren't getting, they're not working. And I don't know. I know it's difficult. They can't tell us the ins and outs of everything, but it's real frustrating for us not to know why. Why are the players disappearing? Why am I tied into an animation? Why, when I have a DB burnt, why is that animation tied to him? And because of the defensive AI is turned up, that he makes up that ground when he doesn't have the acceleration to do so. Right? Because all we really have to go on at this present moment is what we're presented right now, and that is unfortunately ratings. So what we have to go by, because you can't, and I said this before, you can't, the thing with teams like Pittsburgh, things like Detroit Lions and those guys playing pretty well, is those guys giving a little more effort than their opponent. They're playing hard. We don't have a heart attribute. So what we have to go by is what his overall rating is. And if he's a certain speed, he's a certain acceleration, and he is at a certain place where I built him to be an elite player, then why isn't he not playing at that level more consistently? Those are some of the frustrations that we're having in CFM. I would like to ask Relly a question. How many of the plays out of the competitive guys, and you guys can pose this question, how many of those plays do you actually feel work? Are you running these plays that you're running because the other 75 plays that exist in Madden you really feel don't work? Or are you running this set of 12 plays just because it's tricking the AI, or it's more prone for the AI to be tricked? Or is it that you guys have really labbed 350 plays and you feel like, you know what, only 75 of those plays actually work against your user opponent. I'll leave it there.
Well, I mean, that's, I would just say to that though, that regardless of what setting you play it on, we all pull from the same playbooks. So, you know what I mean? It's not like comp mode, y'all got these playbooks that you can use because these are tailored just for comp. Sim, you guys got these plays. Like, it's like we all use the exact same plays. So like I said, your point's definitely valid, like what you're saying. I'm just adding on to it like that. That's when he had brought up that point, that's why I was kind of like scoffing at it, because I'm like, okay, well, we all have the same plays we got to pull from. So it's like, that was kind of a moot point to me. But as far as that, but I mean, what you're saying is definitely on point though. 757.
Absolutely, man. And we about to get another favorite on his. Zulu was about to come on. I just sent you an invite, man. And just to respond real quick to 757, and my bad, I didn't know if you wanted to stay on or not, 75. So I'll get you back in a bit. But I agree too, man. It's like, I just want to say this piece of it, because I don't want to spend too much time rehashing things that we all are saying, because we got to move along with time. But I just wish there was a way, man, that, and I don't know if it's at the dev level. I think it's probably more so at the PR level. I said this before the game launched. I was like, look, this is a rough year. We all know that. Is there a way that y'all can at least like somehow tell your community that? And it was kind of like, man, we can't do that. And I know, but I wish there was a way that even the ones who are marketing the game or what have you, like, there's a thing with, we all know, in layman terms, just keep it real. People respect real. So I would have loved for the game to have been one of those, it came out and then they'd be able to say, look, and nobody's going to come out and just say, hey, our game is broken. But they could have, I wish they would have been allowed to just say, look, it took us a lot to get over the frostbite, guys. We understand, an open letter. We understand there's things that's not playing out the way you guys want it. It's due to this, it's due to that. We're determined to get back where we need, at least something. Because what's so hard right now, and Smitty and I know, but even with being behind the curtain, it's just hard seeing some of this stuff, because it makes me feel like, and I'm going to be real quick, I don't know if some of this stuff is just going to be left as is and we just got to wait for 19, or if some of it is going to be fixed in a patch. I don't know. That I don't know. And that's kind of like, it'd be so much better if they were allowed to just come out and, like NBA Live did in years past. The whole open let, like, they need that, man. At least to let people know this is why you guys are experiencing these problems. Because we all know what it was. It was the integration of Frostbite, trying to get the game back to a level of where Madden 17 was. And we all know you're going to face these issues, but the general public don't really care about that. You understand? Like,
right.
Most of us here can understand that, but the general person just don't. Either they don't know or they don't care. So I feel like they definitely needed to do that. They needed to do something like that to at least give us an expectation. But let me stop talking, man. We always happy when we got guests. Zulu, man, welcome back, man. We always love your insight. So the floor is yours, man. What you got for us?
A long time. How y'all been?
Oh, good,
man. How about you, brother?
Man, I'm telling you, I listen every week. I got busy. Well, I play, but I completely missed the 1 week where you had Rex on. I was like, of course I missed the 1 week when the man comes on. So I was like, I'll make it my pride. Sure, I listen up, and you got a 757 on. I was like, oh no, I got to jump in because you got peeps on today. And you talking Madden? So no, I'm pretty good. So man, y'all talked about so much. Okay, so let me go backwards. And you were talking about target passing, and I think that it's an excellent topic because it speaks to the larger concerns that the hardcore Madden player has. Because like the dude with the video, and then like your video, Sim, that you posted earlier, to me that there's a huge chasm between folks who throw routes and folks who trying to learn how to run plays.
Mm-hmm.
And folks who throw routes it kind of reminds me of what they used to say about Jay Cutler, that he can't throw. When he was in Chicago, the main complaint, he had a hard time throwing the ball unless the receiver was already open. Stellar, top 5 receiver quarterback if the guy is already open. But in terms of that feel for the anticipation for when a guy's gonna get open or how to manipulate coverages so that he can get the guy open, they said that's why Jay tightens up late in games. That EA really missed an opportunity with Madden 17, the gamer's learning curve. Madden 18 is a difficult game, and I love the overall experience. Like, this is the first year I've been challenged to not throw picks. In the past, it was so easy not to throw picks for me. I mean, it wasn't no thing. Now, I'm like, man, okay, I'm averaging 1 a game, and I'm still every pick I throw now, I know it. I'm like, no, I threw that. That was ugly. And so when I put aside some of the glitches and bugs and things that we're dealing with, the EA still has to deal with the learning curve. There's some folks at routes, right? So I'm gonna throw a slant. I'm gonna hot route the slant. I just want to figure out how to fit the ball in there. Then there are folks who understand route combinations, or they're learning that, right? And then there are folks who understand how to set up plays. And I think that the future for Madden has to be about conditioning the user, preparing us get to Madden 19, which they're working on now, or Madden 20. We're not ready for Madden 20. I mean, right now, a lot of us are still acting a fool, talking about, oh, you need to patch this. No. How do we get better? That ought to be the question. And that's why your video was great, because target pass, I'm struggling with target passing. I don't run it in leagues yet, but I'm, in practice mode, in practice mode I try it, but I ain't messing with it in leagues. But that's what we need. That's where we need to go. And that's why I think that just to piggyback off of also what 757 was saying, to make decisions. How do they want us to control our players? Who are we supposed to control? And what kind of digital feedback are we supposed to receive when we use a controller? So, if you're controlling a 7-string linebacker who's fast, he shouldn't be able to move around. We still have in this game where defensive ends, linebackers can drop back and intercept the post. No, dog, that shouldn't happen. However, you shouldn't create artificial inhibitors so that the manual player feels like he can't participate in the game. And right. I feel like every Rex used to say, whenever there's a Madden problem, there's a football answer. And I'm saying, go further with that. School attributes like strength, agility, and acceleration, along with weight and momentum, that you can use to either enhance certain players or just kind of pull them back. So you got great speed, but what if you can't control the guy? What if you can't decelerate? What if you can't angle him? You can use that to your advantage. Furthermore, though, and just, that was my piggyback off of 757. Furthermore, I think that one of the things that EA has to just sit down and commit to, and commit to practice mode. There are 2 practice modes in the game. I'm not talking about skills trainer. I'm talking about the mode that few people utilize. I'm talking about the practice mode that's in the CFM and the practice mode that's outside the CFM. They got to completely redo that. We're still dealing with some 1999 stuff with the physics and the experience of practice mode. If you want the average Madden baller to develop, to increase and enhance his learning curve, for him to, and sometimes her, for all of us to figure out how do these plays work, both on offense and defense, you got to completely restructure our experience through practice mode. Without that, we're still going to have people upset randomness of a bad throw. Throws are on a scale. You got elite quarterbacks who still miss people, and then you got some turds who might get lucky and just throw a dime. Perfect pass. But on that scale is consistency. Great quarterbacks are consistent. Good quarterbacks tend to be consistent. And your dude that you're frightened of, you don't want to pull him off the bench, your McGloins, guys like that, who just scare the hell out of you, they're going to consistently be bad. Or so errant that you just don't want to trust anything down the field. We need to learn that through practice mode. So for me, EA has to learn how to condition us. And I would say the easiest way to do that, step number one, you got to put some resources in practice mode. Because otherwise, people are going to be going to leagues and they're going to go into the lobbies just playing Madden and expecting their 1-2-3 setup to always score and always net them 20, 30 yards or net them, 9 interceptions. No. Teach us football through practice mode, and it'll recondition our expectations. And that's just off the hizzy bits on what y'all been saying.
Great stuff, man. I fully agree, man. I mean, we've been saying this for a long time now. It's like it almost goes back to our first topic. How do you make everybody happy? Because where there's people who love target passing, there's people who hate it. And the question that I have, and I see even in the comments, people are saying it's unrealistic and this and that. I get it. But anything, think about it. What could they put in Madden that realistically replicates pinpoint passing or placing it where you want? What can they do where everybody's going to say, oh, that's realistic? We have to start understanding at the same time, it's a quest for getting to the most realistic a game can be, but it's still a game, meaning there has to be some type of control or user mechanic. It's not going to be like real football. It's not like we standing on the field and throwing it. Like we have to. I think the idea of target passing is a great idea as far as ball placement. Could it be improved? Yeah, I mean, we could definitely tweak it, but I don't know what else when some of you guys just say, oh, it's not realistic. I want to hear what would you prefer? How would we, or what other system would be realistic trying to replicate ball placement? Like, I really want to hear some of these ideas, because just saying that it's unrealistic, that doesn't do anything for me. That leaves us at square one. You know what I mean?
Can I add 10 cents real quick?
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with EA's approach. So I think that first of all, you can't make everybody happy because we're in the Twitter world now. Like, we're in the social media world. We got government figures who can't agree just basics on how to run an election. So you're not gonna get the millions of people who play Madden to agree on anything.
Right.
But I think that the at the heart of what you're saying is absolute 100. That get to a place where we're enhancing our ability and maximizing the ability of our plays. Now this goes back to what 757 was saying, though. What's going on with the plays? What's going on with the playbooks? And certainly for anyone who uses customized playbooks, we all know that there's a hierarchy in terms of how plays operate. Some plays are just trash if we're just going to be real. And then on the other hand, some plays are like, wow, that I can build a scheme around this. I can learn how, like some people love trips and smash concepts. There are some you can learn football principles through some of the plays in the playbook. And I think that just go Sim, just to get to the heart of what you're saying, I think that EA needs to pick a direction. And I'm not talking about arcade, sim, comp. I mean a direction for how we are supposed to experience the base infrastructure of the game. Go. And they need to not only do they need to condition us, they need to commit to that. Because if you bounce back and forth, then you get people whose responses are, I'm just going to wait around for them to patch it out or patch something in. Or so yes, I agree with you that you can't please. It's difficult just to please us, period. But further than that, I don't think it's realistic to think that you can please, like, people will always claim that they hate Madden. They'll always claim that, oh, you can't trust Rex. Meanwhile, they go out and buy the game.
Yep.
So,
like clockwork.
so, right, like every year, how do you know the game's so bad, dog? How do you? So my point is that not only do I agree with at the heart of what you're saying, I think EA needs to just take that as a guiding philosophy that generation of Madden players cannot have the same experience as the folks who are going to play Madden 19. That they need to steer us away from the PS3 generation of Madden. That includes the playbooks, that includes the modes. They need to reimagine the game and then say, okay, so how can we bring the user along? Because they can get, like, there were parts of Madden 17, they're parts, not the whole thing. There were parts of Madden 17 better than 18. Now, 18, I love this game, but the initial release has tainted the experience of some folks. And I'm like, well, there are problems in CFM for sure. And there are problems just with the everyday way that the game plays. But where the game is going, I really dig it. And especially after the patch, when now we got a game that isn't, the zones still have some work to do, but they're not just fundamentally broken. So once again, I'm feeling very good about the game. But my issue is, okay, how do you want us to play it? What should our expectations be? Guide us by the doggone hand. Go back to what you did at the end of Madden 16 and release videos. Because I remember when they were releasing videos and they were like, hey, this is how cover 2 works. This is how cover 3 works. And they need to go back to that to recondition us. Because if EA decides they just want to release an arcade game, then you got to stick to that. If you're telling us, well, no, comp mode is the way. We don't care about penalties. We don't care if you bump a dude off his route. We don't care about anything. You got to stick with that. But right now, you're letting YouTubers, Facebookers, Twitterati, you're letting all these negative forces impact how we perceive the game. And I want them to take more control over how they want us to experience it so that if we have valid criticisms, they can listen to it. But making all of us happy, that ain't going to happen. However, conditioning us, yeah.
Yo, you still there?
Good, what happened?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, now we can. Oh, yeah, my screen is flickering for some reason. I think my virtual memory running out.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Listen, I agree with every single point there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like what I'm seeing here in the chat, and we'll move to the next topic here in just a second, guys. But again, I'm still not seeing many people, and not just tonight, there's not many people saying how or what would be better. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of feedback that they like from us. Now, again, here goes somebody's going to say, oh, well, they should know what to do. It ain't about that. They ask questions like that all the time, especially Clint. Well, okay, well, see, you like that, but how would you implement it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, just saying, like I saw London said, hey, maybe have like VR and have a helmet on. That's some crazy next level stuff. But this is what I'm saying. It has to be something that you're doing on the controller, unless it's VR, to replicate ball placement. And I'm just saying, somebody give a better idea. I mean, like I said, I think target passing at the root is great. Now, we could all, give feedback on how it can be improved, but being able to have that cursor, like Smitty has said, Jump to Raw said it earlier, most of us would say the NFL Fever had that, target passing first, and we target passing in the Madden is similar to that. I think that's the best way to do it. Literally pointing to where you want the ball to go and getting it out there. And as far as responsiveness and all of that, that could be debated. That's something that could be worked on, but I don't know. I don't know what else could you do outside. Because again, Vision Cone was great. But in my opinion, still, I think Vision Cone wasn't as specific to a spot as target passing is. But that's just my opinion. What you have, Smitty?
Yeah, no. Well, I was just basically going to say is, like you said, you know, yeah, people say that the devs got it all. You know, the devs should just have it figured out. But the thing is, if you don't like what the devs are doing, then you should come up with something better, or at least give a suggestion and say, you know what, I like this. Like I think this will work better. A hybrid, it could be a cross between what they did this year and QB Vision. You see what I'm saying? Like, or it could be something that's more along the lines of what you saw with Reading Lead. But you have to, you have to figure out a way of, not figure out a way, but you have to put the feedback out there. I'd rather the game be like this. That's why you see stuff like what Deuce Douglas did. Oh man, they should already know what to do with franchise mode. They don't need me to say nothing yet. Look what he did. He posted all that stuff out there. And on top of that, Rex was hitting them up in the DM. So it's like, for what? We don't know. But hey, that's what happens when you put the work in. Now, you don't have to be like him and, do all the Photoshop work and everything like that. He did a great job with that. It's like, showcase your creativity, even if you're posting just paragraphs or something like that, or if it's a Word document or something. Just let them know. Just let them know. See what I'm saying? Like, that's what we got to do at the end of the day. But like what people are saying about these controls, some people it's too difficult. Coincidentally, the same exact thing was said about QB Vision back then. That's why that got took out.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So we can sit up here and scream out. And I'm saying, as in this sim community, that we want it. But how many people are going to use it? I mean, look, like what we were saying earlier on in the show, look at how many people are not using target passing right now, despite tutorials and all that stuff. I said, excuse me, I told you back at EA Play, y'all really gonna have to spend quality time in that practice mode and really learn these mechanics. ID in the mic, shifting your line, using those mechanics. We talk about it when other people jack up, but then now here's the mechanics. Nobody's really using them. So why would we say to Rex and them, modify or take this control to the next level that not many people are even using? Because then they're going to come back to us and be like, well, look at metrics data. How come they're not really using it? Like, if that's something that they could track, they'll come back to the table and be like, well, y'all not really using it. So why? Oh, okay. So they could easily be like, well, we took it out. Now they come out and be like, we took it out. Then what's going to mess around and happen? Oh man, they took it out again, man. They did it. No, it's because people aren't using it. See what I'm saying? So this is the kind of stuff that when we say before it gets in the game, yeah, we need it. As soon as they start to implement it, no, we can't do that. Remember what happened with Whiteout DB interactions. Just saying. Those interactions, that genuine fear between Whiteout and DB play, it ain't been the same since.
Nope, sure hasn't.
So that's the stuff we wanted that ended up getting took out the game. So you said we don't use long shot though. Oh, you need to listen to that investors call, bruh. A lot of people played that long shot, cuz.
It's what I'm trying
listen
to say,
to
man.
The investors call.
We get all of this stuff, man. But again, I told you, as and not even self-appointed, as appointed leaders by you guys, we're always going to try to kind of teach how this community needs to move. Like all that stuff, man. We can't worry about that. That is out of everybody's control. That's out of Rex's control, which he told you. That's a marketing thing. And contrary to what people believe, it worked. We didn't applaud it. Hey, I was there in the middle of production and I was like, I don't like it. I told her the exact that. I don't like y'all doing that right now. But that doesn't matter. So that's why I don't waste my time with all of that. You know, there's always going to be stuff done in every video game that's for this crowd and then for that crowd and then for that crowd. That long shot stuff wasn't for us. Why are we worrying about that? What we need to do is hold them accountable to the stuff that we want. That's it. And give real feedback like we're all doing here tonight. But the funny thing is about target passing, I'll say this last thing, then we'll move to the next topic. I saw so many people complain about it, like from the launch through now, and I'm like, it's optional. I've never seen something get complained about so much that's optional. You literally have to activate it. That's why I don't have a problem with it. Now, I could give my feedback on how I would like it to be better, but I can't really beef about it when I'm the one who's cutting it on. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like it's forcing you to use it. So, you know, I just think as a whole, man, the Madden community is so fickle. Like, it's the certain things that I sit back and watch people complain about. I'm like, man, come on, man. Like the mouthpieces. You know, I hate to pick on somebody, but I'm like, bruh, it's so much more stuff that we all in this chat concerned with than some mouth. Like a mouthpiece in the mouth doesn't fix the gameplay problem. But everybody has their own way of seeing things and their own vision. That's why I don't judge. That's what they want. This is what I want. But as a collective, man, let's just continue to make sure we're giving the proper feedback, hold their feet to the fire, and we'll see what happens at the end of the day. But the next point, man, Smitty, I want to throw it to you, man. Did you get a chance? Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't read the whole thing. That was too much for me to read. You know, I heard there was videos made about it too. I didn't watch videos, but you know, shout outs to C Mad at Me, another, you know, follower. He's here in the chat. He sent the information to me today for this topic. But Smitty, did you get a chance to look at any of those documents about the kinetic energy and you know the patent on the physics and all of that? Well,
it's interesting.
It's very interesting. So yeah, go ahead, man. I'll let you kick that off. What are your thoughts on that in general? Because, well, let me preface it with this. I saw some people saying that, oh, well, they don't have physics in the game at all. And then I saw other people said, well, now it looks like they're able to simulate physics. And then I saw other people talking about parts of it that covered where they could, you know, basically manipulate what's happening on the field with the technology. So what is your full takeaway from all of that, from all of the aspects that we saw on Twitter over the last 3 days? What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, my takeaway regarding it at the end of the day, it's more of an at the end of the day point. Because I didn't read the whole art. I didn't read it. It's like, what? I don't know how many pages, but I didn't read it. I looked at some of it and it looks interesting for if I'm somebody that cares about the intricacies of the system to that depth, then I'm all in. My thing at the end of the day is the end product. And if it's manipulated, if it's whatever it is that they're doing with it, then so be it. I'm concerned about the end goal. You know what I'm saying? That's like me, like, for example, we got Thor Ragnarok coming out in a day. That's like me looking at documentation saying, you know what? They're using special effects, but they might not necessarily be the CGI that we think it is. And I got the information on it. That's like, okay, but ultimately, is the movie good? Did the visuals look good? Did it stand out? Did it pop? Did it get my attention? That's where I'm essentially at in that regard. If it does the job, cool. But if it doesn't do the job, then we got something to discuss. And I'm not saying that it's a negative thing. If that's, you know, who know, like I honestly don't know how far that well goes off of that documentation, because once again, it's not like we're hollering at Andrew Wilson about, to follow up and say, so what's the deal on this? Like, what does this essentially mean? And I know, C-Matt, I'm going off. I'm talking about the documentation. I'm not going off of you. I'm not saying like, you're saying anything wild or anything. I'm just saying off of the documentation itself. That's all I'm going by. So I'm just saying, looking at the documentation, it is, don't get me wrong, y'all, it is definitely an interesting read if you really want to look at intricate detail. But we don't have validity to a lot like that information in there. We don't have validity to say this is what it is or what is this tied to. You'll have 50 billion questions after reading that. Heck, I looked at it and it's like a whole lot of stuff that I could look at and really question and be like, okay. But ultimately, though, my standpoint is, my standpoint is, with all this being said or showcased, like, does this documentation have to do, like, is this stuff that they have to put out or at least get authorization for before building their systems? You know what I mean? Like, where does this play a role at? At what stage in the business infrastructure does this play a part? Because those articles to me are more of those. That's business articles right there. That's business material right there. Like when you want to get all into the nitty gritty business aspect, that's the whole thing. See what I'm saying? So, and I mean, the thing is it in the game? Hey, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't see all of that now. You know what I mean? Like, we behind the curtain, but we not in the boardroom and in investor meetings and all that stuff. We ain't on that. That's what Azure always said. Where we want to be ultimately, we want to be at the table, making them, went right in there with those decision makers and everything. That's the big time true ultimate goal. But in the meantime, though, I'll say that I do I'll say, despite the article and everything, I like this. I like the physics. I like the physics that are in Madden. Is it perfect? No. Is there a lot more work they can do? Oh, yes, most definitely. And we all know that. And on top of that, Rex has said that multiple times on the show over the years in the past. He wants to see poetry and motion happening on the football field. Obviously, it's not there yet. Obviously, with Madden 18, we've said it multiple times here, it's definitely a transition year. You know what I'm saying? Like, without question, the frostbite and the long shot stuff and all this other stuff, there's a lot of moving parts. You know what I'm saying? The developmental resources being over there with NBA Live. I got thrown about NBA Live Mobile if we get a chance. I'll talk about that, when we finish. But other than that, though, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, like I said, C-Mad, I like the article, but my main takeaway from it is like, yes, it's interesting food for thought for sure, but it's just about the end product. Where does all of that play a role? Like that would be the big question that I would have. Where does all of that ultimately play out in the grand scheme of things? That would really be it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really all that I got on that. So but no, don't throw it to Sim, man.
Yeah, man, that's the kind of the way I look at it too. From what you said, is like, we don't know. I don't know if that full system that's in that PDF is in the game. I have no idea. To me, it kind of reads as if, the way I read it, the portions I did read, and it kind of seems like they have the technology that would allow for more realistic physics versus like the ragdoll. That's what I got from it. Is that currently there? I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't think it's there currently. I would believe that the technology is there because obviously we know that they've made the investment to go physics. So to kind of answer that question, you know, for people saying there's no physics at all in the game, I don't know how you get to that conclusion. The way it's in the game now is like it was implemented from the beginning. It's a physics component that is augmented. You know, it augments animations. That's how it plays out now. You know, there's the most physical component as far as actual physics in Madden right now is tackling. Yes, there are some pre-canned animations that you see in one-on-one situations, but we all know, I mean, it's been said numerous times, you see physics kick in with gang tackles or like the in-man tech. You see it. You see when guys' arms are bumped and the arm moves and stuff like that. I just don't think it's fully fleshed out. That's what I get from that article. You know, that technology was basically saying, you know, they have the tech to really blend these animations and make them behave in a more physical standpoint. If that is the case, great. You know what I mean? Like if that's what they really have going on, then I guess we can expect to see that going forward. I looked at it a little deeper as well, Smitty. Maybe, you know, that is what we're seeing more in FIFA or NHL, you know, because it's cleaner. I don't know. But my whole thing, how I looked at it, is not even so much of what it said, because some people had the logical question. Like, you know, I see C Mad at me says he just wants to know, is it in the game?
Right.
That I don't have the answer to. I wouldn't think so. I mean, reading that technology, I don't think it's playing out like that quite yet. But my more thing was just, you know, to the people who were just saying, oh, there's no physics in the game. I'm like, I don't understand. Maybe I'm naive, but I don't understand how you play the game and you come to the conclusion that there's no physics. How? The most you could say is, oh, physics doesn't seem to control every situation, i.e. DB and wideout interactions, which you hear Smitty and I say all the time. That needs to be more of a physical situation, in my opinion. Right now, it's still more the two-man sequence plays out, and then, you know, physics can kick in after that. Like if there's another guy around or whatever, physics can kind of dictate the outcome, so to speak, and augment it. But things like DB and wideout interactions, jostling, the trenches, there ain't no physical situations going on there. We see it. Go look at your replays. In the trenches, yeah, there's no way you telling me that physics is controlling that. It ain't. Maybe a small piece of it, but it's really not. So that is why I don't believe that what you may have read in that, you know, that PDF. Nah, I don't think, based off of what I saw in there. And again, I didn't read the whole thing, so I could be misinterpreting. Based on the key part that I caught of basically being able to blend animations into real physics, I don't think that's in the game yet, because if that was the case, it should be across the board. It should be the whole 11 on 11. It shouldn't be a segment, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's partially in there. Maybe they do have that technology, but they are only using it in certain spots. So it's a lot of questions there, but I clearly don't think that it's you know, it's to the degree that read. And if it is there, if they got the ability to do it, hopefully we'll see that. You know, maybe, again, we all know Frostbite is the one that's being, you know, advertised as being able to share technology. We heard this before with Ignite. Obviously, Ignite didn't do it the way they thought it would. That's typically what happened. I know nobody's come out and said that, but come on, we're all smarter than that. Obviously, Ignite didn't allow them to do that. So Frostbite is that engine, and we've seen proof of that. Like, they will be able to do stuff with Frostbite. We just got to sit back and wait and see how fast or how soon. Because if you ask me and Smitty, I'm taking it literally, even though I know it is some behind the scenes, but I'm taking it literally. Like, I'm expecting to see Madden 19 have the jostling that FIFA has, or the jersey pulls, or the player movement. That's my expectation. Will it be that? We'll have to wait and see. But I need that train to move much faster than what's us waiting for Ignite. I'm not cool with the, oh, well, we won't be able to do that part for another 3 years. No, man. I want to see this every year is something big. Oh, we got that now. Oh, whoa, like every year. That's what I'm expecting now. And if we don't get that, y'all gonna hear us talk about it. But you know, you're running on the best engine that EA has. At this point, I ain't trying to hear it, man. You know what I mean? I need to see this because I'm not dealing with that again. You know, because again, Andrew Wilson stood up on that stage and told us, and we never really saw it. So that's how I feel about that, Smitty. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a question we'll ask. You guys do your due diligence as well. Get on Twitter and keep asking Clint, keep asking Rex, tag them with that article and see if you get a response. Don't just rely on us to do it. So there you have it with that. So let's see. What's the next thing, man, we want to cover here? There was something else. Oh, here's a good one. Still a Spartan. He had a question in regards to, do the Madden devs consider how patches and updates impact CPU play? The example that he gave is like, you know, there's a glitch now with, you know, pass commit. We all found out about it. If you didn't know, we probably found out when you watched the tournament or other numerous videos. When you pass commit, obviously there was something put into play to, it was kind of a band-aid, so to speak, to fix another problem, and it created this glitch. So now players can recognize when it's about to happen. Like if you feel like somebody's going to do pass commit, you know when it's about to happen, you can make the proper adjustment, but the CPU is still being affected by the excessive pancakes. So his question is, when they do these tuners and they do these patches, do they consider the CPU side of things? I'll be very brief with my question, and my answer, and I'll throw it to Smitty. I would assume, I rightfully can't say, I don't know. I can only hope that they do. Because the way I feel, man, y'all know how I feel about user control. User control applies to one person. So essentially, you're always playing against the computer. Even if you're playing an opponent. There's only one person that they can control, one that you can control. The other 10 guys on your team is the CPU. And that's how I want the game to be built. That CPU has to be strong on all accounts, AI, all of these things. You know, the gameplay, if it's something adjusted in the user's favor, it needs to be adjusted for the CPU. So I would only hope that is how they're doing it. Are they considering that? I don't know. I guess. But that's a very good question, man. Seeing is that glitches like that, the CPU is at its mercy. You know, whereas a live person can kind of adjust to it. So what are your thoughts on that, Smitty?
Well, see, that once again is a hard call. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that I think that's something that would be more, it would have to be more of a systematic structural kind of change. With in turn, that would have to be pardon me. That would have to be more of a progressive change. Not really something you can tune, but something that would have to be built. Like, or rebuilt, I should say, because look, Sim and I went down to the studio before and we was asking dudes questions about sliders that dudes couldn't answer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's not saying dudes are clueless, it's just that there's depth to it that we would have to like really, really talk. Like we probably have to talk to some people to really find out what the nitty gritty is. And when you're talking about changing up a system that's been in a similar way for such a while, even with the changes made, that's where it gets to be a challenge at, because we need to see the CPU AI be sharper, but not cheat. That's why the devs always say play on All Pro. You know what I'm saying? But eventually All Pro ends up being simplistic enough that it's like, no, man, I need that challenge. But see, I play all Madden, and yeah, I can win on all Madden, but I want to play legit football. I just don't want to be doing anything cheesy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want the game to play me properly and give me that challenge, that true challenge all year. And we want to see all Madden become like that setting, all Madden simulation. So we want all Madden simulation to be that big time challenge. They're making the audibles. They're making the play call adjustments. They're making the halftime adjustments. They're adjusting to what I'm doing offensively or defensively. See what I mean? But it's not really happening like that. So as we all know, if you call an audible, whether All Pro or All Madden, it's like they know exactly what you're switching up to. So then they automatically audible to what what play it is, or at least what formation to line up with you. And see what would happen. See what I would like to see happen on the field is, let's say you on the field and you switch up your play and they're in a formation that really is not going to be effective. They're looking at each other like guys are confused. Like, it would be cool to see guys that are not that are out of position looking clueless. Like how in NCAA, if you called the audible and the stadium was rumbling and it was that loud, they would be looking at the quarterback like, what are you saying? You know what I mean? Like, I would like to see that kind of stuff happen on the field even. Like, dudes really don't know what to do. Like, what? Like, they throwing their hands up like, what do you really want me to do? And then they just break down and play the snap. See, I would love to see the game get to that point where they're doing that kind of stuff happening in the game. Like, they pick a play, and it's something you switch to that they truly are not in position to handle. See what I'm saying? So that's my point, man. But it takes time to build that. That's the other part too. You got to understand. That's something that takes time to build out. That's why I'm saying, even with the mode separation they got right now, it's something that's going to take them time to build out and say, okay, cool. We have this foundation set. Now let's build it out. Let's keep building this in this direction. Sim in this direction, comp in that direction, arcade, whatever. You know what I mean? Just building it out accordingly. That's what we need to see going forward from this point on. Like what Sim was just saying, Madden 19 expectations. And I mean, and let me make one other thing clear as well, because some people will try and make a play on it. What Sim said. Sim's not saying, none of us are saying we lower our expectations for 1 year and all that stuff. It's got nothing to do with lowering expectations. We keep it realistic. Based off of what we do, we have high expectation. But when it gets in the hands of you guys and others, the game will mess around and change. So that's why, usually we refrain from giving those reactions like, hey, man, I think y'all gonna like what's happening. I don't know how y'all gonna feel about it, because there'll be people here that say they want football, and then when football starts to happen, they want it out. So I don't know how to call it, but yes, the expectation is going to be high, is definitely sky high always. So we'll see what these dudes do, though. But throw it back to you, man.
Yeah, man, and we'll try to wrap this thing up here in the next 15 minutes. We'll segment into the next topic, which should be brief, and then, Smitty had something to say about mobile, and that should get, kill the 15 minutes. My quick thought on it too, man, is it's basically everything Smitty said. These things have to be built down. You have to. This is what I want to see from Madden, taking it in a different direction here real quick. Just get the fundamental stuff to work. Like, we all use the term Band-Aids. Like, sometimes I don't like how they implement one thing to fix another thing, but it's because of the way the game is currently. It's the same principle that we say about the competitive players. It's certain things that they do because they're compensating for something else somebody else would do. Then we look at it and be like, oh, that's cheesy. But again, like when they did the Crossman stuff last year, It was to compensate things that happened in the real world that wasn't in Madden. So you had to manipulate it that way. And that's the same thing with the quarter defense stuff. How, you know, if somebody comes out in quarters and you call like a run play out of I formation or whatever, everybody gets pancake. From the beginning, Smitty knows this. We both said, I don't like that. That's not real. That's not realistic. Like, that's not solving the problem of saying I should be able to run the ball against quarters. If I'm in heavy and you are in quarters, I should be able to run the ball down your throat. You know, again, I always got to use the team I know. But imagine if somebody comes out in quarters like that and they got like just 3 down linemen and we running the I formation with Roosevelt Nix in front of Le'Veon Bell. Come on, son.
Yeah,
we're going to kill that. That's 10 yards a pop.
Mm-hmm.
How do they get that replicated properly? That's what I want them to start doing. Find the ways to do that. Build the game from inside out. And those Band-Aids and stuff got to go, man, because we never get to the real solution, because y'all know with video games, sometimes when something works and there's a solution for now, it carries over to the next year, it carries over to the next year, and then the root problem never gets fixed. That's what I'm expecting going forward. That's the stuff Smitty and I is fighting for. Let's get these root things right. Let's figure out how to get the trenches to really play, like get some physics in there to where if it's body on body, I formation against the core, ain't no way nobody. Now, however, I will say this. Maybe a dude like Aaron Donald in that technique still gets off of his block because he's Aaron. You see what I'm saying? So it's a tough one. I just don't like when they put stuff in to fix something else that's already broken. We got to get away from that. So next thing here, Smitty, real quick. And shout outs to Master Keys, man. Sorry for making you wait so long to get to your topic, but I think we can hit this one real quick, Smitty. He says, has splitting up the community between sim and competitive made the game better or worse? I could answer that real quick, just my thoughts. I would say better in the long term. I think, and my hope is when they decided to do this, it was allowing us to get that situation where, all right, we could cater this type of brand of football here, and we could cater this preference here. Not football, but preference. What I mean by preference is you have guys in competitive community. Obviously, you're playing for 50,000. I mean, you don't want a random dice roll to be the reason why you lose. I can fully identify with that. Us sim guys, on the other hand, we're like, hey, that's football, which is true. But when we're talking about a game that doesn't have, again, let's go back to our first topic. When we're talking about a game that's not built to really replicate randomness where we believe it, it is kind of hard to say to them, hey, well, it's football. It is really not, because, you know, with Madden, oh, here's another thing that some of you guys don't know. Because there's a percentage factor in the dice roll, there's no governor or restriction as to when it happens. So let me explain what I'm saying. Let's say the percentage is 20%. I'm just hypothetically saying that. That 20% might play out all in the fourth quarter. So you might get 3 passes back to back. There's airmail. That's a fact. I was told that. There's nothing that governs when it happens. The dice rolls are just there based off of ratings and such, but there's nothing there to say when it should happen. So in some cases, that 20%, and again, don't run with that number. I'm just saying, it might all happen on the same drive. You see what I'm saying? And that I will identify with a competitive guy, or even as a sim guy. I'm playing for 50 racks and something stupid like that happened. I ain't trying to hear at that moment, oh, that's real football, because I know the game ain't doing it. You understand what I'm saying? The game ain't built to where it was a real football problem. Like, this quarterback doesn't have a strong arm. It's raining. You know, it's that Redskin game we saw a couple nights ago where it's just start pouring. Something like that. Then I'll be like, dang, I shouldn't have tried to throw it 60 yards down the field. He ain't going to get it there. It's wet. It's raining. It's windy. But those components are not there. So what is it there that makes us really believe, oh, it's just because he's quote unquote a bad quarterback? You see what I'm saying? So I identify with that. But in the long run, and I actually went a little longer than I expected. My fault there, guys. But in the long run, I think it will set something up to where it will make it better. Right now, it might have made it worse because it seems like sim and competitive is kind of doing this. It's almost like, are we really seeing the separation? I don't see enough separation yet. So maybe for Madden 18, it might have been worse because you're trying to compensate for both crowds. But I think they're setting up something bigger and better going down the road. So we'll have to wait and see. What do you think, Smitty?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Because I mean, heck, you guys saw y'all saw what happened last week. So I'm saying, but no, like it in the long run, and that's what I said on Twitter too. I saw the tweet and I responded to it. I'm like, in the long run, that having the segmentation, excuse me, is ultimately going to be worthwhile because, like I was saying earlier, tournament gamers they want to play Street Fighter on the football field. They want Street Fighter execution. They want that arcade-like execution on the football field. We want it to be straight up NFL football, and that's it. I understand that they get upset when you make NFL statements, but yet the thing is, the game is Madden NFL football, not CFL, not NCAA, not Arena League, not USFL. It's Madden NFL. So when this game is broadcast on that big old esports stage and they promote these tournaments and stuff in the Super Bowl, dude, you're talking football in the middle of a football game, but then we should be like, oh, well, let's scale back the football vision because of how it's being played. No, it's football. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's football, man. So that's why, and I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Sim, 100%. Your point. I'm not saying you're wrong, like you're right, but it's like we're talking football at the end of the day, and it has to be football that's displayed on screen. Have the arcade-like execution, fine. You want to catch everything, regardless of how good or bad the quarterback is, fine, do it. That's y'all mode. But at the same time, it also has to look like football on the field.
Yeah, I agree with
that's
that.
That's why if I watch esports, which I do, I watch League of Legends at times. I watch Street Fighter. I watch Injustice. All those games replicate and look like those respective games in terms of its tools, its functions, its movements, its intricacies, all that. I don't want that to be any different when it comes to looking at Madden. I'm not saying it's got to be sim mode, but what I'm saying is that if you're using a sucky quarterback, regardless of what arcade setting it is, dude, it has to resemble football on the field. If like taking a defensive end and you want to drop him into coverage and he's covering wide receivers, like legitimately covering wide receivers, that's a problem. That's the issue. But that's the kind of execution that these guys want. And that's why I say Rex, Clinton, and the crew and the team, I give those guys mad props because you got to try and strike a balance with that. That's why I can understand year one of this whole segmentation being rough. It's just like what I said about NHL 11. Remember how they said real-time physics. Hits aren't going to be the same. Real-time puck physics. I didn't play NHL 11 heavy, but I knew dudes that I worked with at the time that played tons of NHL. And they were like, dude, it doesn't feel any different than NHL 10. It just feels a little bit smoother, but it doesn't play any different than NHL 10. That had none of that real-time physics stuff in there. And that's the thing. It was year one. But then when you saw NHL 12 and 13 and so on, that's when you started to see those physics come out. And you saw a lot of people start playing that. See what I'm saying?
Go play Madden 13 and then play 18 or 17. Like, I'll even say 17 because 18, I think 18 has improved a little bit physically. Yeah. But play 17 or 18 and play Madden 13. It has improved. I mean, it has. It might not be where we would dream for it to be, and it still ain't on all 22 players, in my opinion. But it has improved. But you know, forget all that. I'm back on that. Man, make it happen, train Smitty. Forget all that time. We had some time now. We on what year we on with physics? What's this, 4? Come on now.
Is it 4?
4 or 5? Like what, 13?
13.
Adding 25, 15, 16.
15, 16. Yeah.
Come on, let's get it, man.
Yeah.
We give you a smidget of, not even a pass, but an acknowledgement going to Frostbite this year. But come on, man. Going forward, I ain't trying to hear it. Y'all have some time now. Let's make it happen. Let's stop playing around. So
yeah, man.
That's how I feel on that. But shoot, man, you know, like I said, we pretty much beat that horse plenty of times as far as a competitive and sim thing. And I know we're not done with that. But real quick, Smitty, before we wrap up, man, I know you had something to say about NBA Live Mobile. I haven't had a chance. I did update, but I haven't played it yet because I might just do a video on it. So I just cut it off because I couldn't capture at the time. But yeah, what do you want to say about that?
I just want to say real quickly, in regards of what's in there, like I finally got it to work today because it wasn't working for me yesterday. There was some kind of issue going on, but on Droid phones. But the system, the way they have it set up in that game, my big question about that is why in the world isn't that in live on console? And you're gonna see Sim, you'll see when you start playing it. They got they got chemistries in there.
Oh yeah, I read that.
You got the chemistries with the coaches. You got old school coaches. You got, because you have a historic team, you have a historical squad, and you have a current squad. So current NBA, old school NBA. So you got players low rated and high rated, but you can train your players, so to speak. So let's say you have a bunch of 70s guys, 70 rated guys, or if you have a few 70 guys and there's guys that you want to keep and level up, you can take other player cards and basically invest them into that player to help build up his skill and get his rating points up. So it's like, yo, that's crazy. It's like to see what they have in that game. But once again, why isn't this in the console version of Ultimate Team? Because like everything there, it needs to be in the console version of the game. If that wasn't, I mean, I haven't even played Ultimate Team yet in live on console, but I'm playing this and I'm like, yo, like this is crazy to me. You got all these old school players and all that stuff. Like, you know, you got whatchamacallit. I got an old school T-Mac on there, like a 97 T-Mac or 2000 T-Mac or something like that on my squad. And you could level these guys up. If you get a bunch of old players and they're low-rated guys, I could level them up that way, along with doing, you know, all the live challenges and playing the season in head-to-head. Come on, EA, man. Seriously. Y'all got to do that stuff with live, man. Live needs that.
It's in Madden Mobile also.
Yeah, oh, it is?
Madden Mobile actually had it first.
Oh, really?
When it launched this year, Madden Mobile had, actually, I don't know if I put that video out or not, but when I went to the capture event, I did. I captured that. And that's where I first saw that idea where you can level up guys with different cards. I got a video on here somewhere from back around that time. But yeah, and Madden Mobile had it, now Live Mobile has it. And to my knowledge, I think can you do that in Madden console? I want to say you can. I'm not sure. Being able to like take other cards to level up another guy.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that in this, but you can't do that in live.
Yeah, and I think you can do it on Madden on the console. I think I'm not 100%.
Yeah, no, you can on the console.
Yeah, there you go.
You can.
So live should have had it.
That's what I'm saying. Live should have had that. That's how you come back. Like you gotta have that stuff, man. It should be 1-to-1. Like, so that's why I was just tripping, like playing it. And I mean, I saw people's videos and stuff. Shout out to Tico and you know, Miguel and QJB and Spade and other guys and Good Game Brothers, all them cats. But I'm just saying that after getting to play it and seeing it and going through it firsthand, I'm like, man, this blows what they got on in the console out the water. Like, come on, man. But yeah, that's the one thing I like about Madden too, is that you can reinvest players and build your own players up. You know what I'm saying, as well. It's a grind though, but at the same time, you could do it for free. You know, so, and that's the main thing. I just want to say that last thing real quick. Ultimate Team, guys, you can play these Ultimate Team games for free. Real talk. You don't have to buy cards. All of these games, understand this. All of these games, these consoles, these companies and everything else, that they make the games challenging. So I was talking with my coworkers about it with that game, Shadow of War. They make the games challenging to the point where it makes you get frustrated. So you say, you know what? Give me my wallet. Let me buy this. So in that way I could get ahead.
It's called making money.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they're trying to put you in that position where you feel like you have to spend money in order to advance, when you really don't. But once you start doing it, you're like, man, I bought this pack and look what I got. Oh man, yo, let me buy this. Let me buy this 2-pack bundle. Then before you know it, man, let me buy this 30-pack bundle real quick. You done dropped $100 on the game without even thinking about it. Or before you know it, you done dropped a few hundred. You see what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing. But you got guys that build their teams up to 99s and all that, and they ain't spend no money. So it can be done. You can do it. It's just, it takes work though. It's a legit grind, but it can be done. Don't matter if it's a mobile phone game or a console. You don't have to buy this stuff. And eventually what's going to end up happening is, well, at least with other games, they'll come out with the edition that has everything unlocked in it. The stuff that, you know, when the game first came out, you basically put it out there to buy and all that stuff, and everything comes in the package. So that's all I'm just saying, man. That, you know, I just want to put that out there because I know the whole notion is the conditioning of it mentally is that I got to buy these packs. And man, I'm pissed because I bought these packs and I didn't get what I expected. That goes back to the point I said earlier, y'all. You could buy all the packs in the world, but not get the cards that you expected to. But somebody can mess around and earn 2 or 3 packs from doing solo challenges, and they'll get those pulls that you truly wanted, and you're pissed because you spent a few $100s trying to get it and you didn't get it. See what I'm saying? So just putting that out there. And yeah, Daryl, you're right. It is a lot of time. That's why I said it's a grind without question. But time versus the money. You see what I'm saying? You put in time, you put in all kinds of time at work, depending upon what your job is or career or whatever it is, to get that check, right? Typically, you put 80 hours in, you put in 80 hours of work to get a check. So are you putting in 80 hours into Madden to get ahead in that? Or are you playing 4 or 5 hours and saying, man, this is too much? See what I'm saying? I bet if you just took the time and put in the same amount of hours, even if it was spread out over time, that you did for a work period, one pay period's worth, 80 hours of work at least, 80. I bet you your team would drastically jump up because you put in that time and effort versus going on ahead and buying. See what I'm saying? So, but I'll just put it out there, even though I know people going to buy packs anyway, but that's just my thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So,
real quick, are you able to, because I don't know enough information on it, but I see that Sick With It wanted us to address the NPD sales for NBA Live. And guys, I have my camera off because I'm attending our Madden draft right now via remote play, and I didn't have my extension for more USB ports, so that's why y'all don't see me. I got my controller here connected, and how wonderful technology is to even be able to do that. But yeah, he wanted to know, because I know he tweeted us this a while back, about the NPD sales in regards to live and with them, reducing the cost. Do you have any info on that?
That I don't know. I don't know exact numbers, but I do know like when they put out the NPD, when they put out the NPD numbers, that NBA Live was in the top 20 as far as sales. But that was like for the month of the month of September or something like that? So or month of October. They talked about the sales and they had the top 20 games in that list. So, and and Live was in there. So them dropping the price down or what have you, it could be because they look, and we've said this before too on the show. We know that NBA Live is going to be operating in the red and the black before they get clear. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be operating in the red for a minute, then before they get to that black. So, they know that. That's why people, like, when I even play live in the streams, people be saying, man, are they making Live 19? Like, they questioning it. I'm like, yeah, they making it. Like, yeah, it's happening. They're invested in the series. They're not invested in one game. They're invested in the series. It's a long haul, and they're just getting started. So they got to keep it going. So NBA Live would be $20. It wouldn't surprise me if it was. It's Black Friday sale. A lot of games are gonna. There's going to be a ton. There's going to be a ton of products that are going to be cheaper come Black Friday. So that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, no, like I would assume that Live, they're starting. I mean, look, Live is turning more and more heads. Live is turning more and more heads every day. I'm seeing people online. I'm seeing people come and be like, man, I went ahead and took a chance on this Live. And I'm actually impressed. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, I'm playing 2K. Game frustrates me when I play it. And I could pop in Live and I can have a heck of a lot less frustration while I play. That tells me a lot right there. So seeing that NBA Live, and I'll end it with this because I know we got to get going here, but the mere fact that NBA Live not Live Mobile, the mere fact that NBA Live got sevens in some cases, that's interesting that they got sevens from people, considering where 2K is versus where Live is. I mean, on a rating scale 1 to 10, it doesn't go up to 11 or 12 or 20. So if Live comes out next year with an equivalent effort as far as what they did this year, what do you think they're going to be at now? They're going to be talking about 8s, and some people going to be giving them close to 9s. So the deniability is not the level of deniability is going to start to go away. Then it's just a matter of you're just a fanatic of a particular series, and that's fine. I don't give a care about that. If the game's good, the game's good. That's all there is to it. So I mean, in my opinion, I'm cool with Live with the price point they got. Real talk, 2K should be the same price for all the jacked up stuff that they do, especially with those updates. 2K should be $30. There's no way that game is a $60. It's not a $60 game, and even for me playing my league, it's not a $60 game. As soon as they start to update it, that game's broke. It gets too messed up, and it gets so frustrating because it's got so much good potential in it. But when they do those patches, it doesn't work. It's jacked up. They need to get on board with what EA did. Heck, or NHL for that matter. Segment the game when it comes to doing all that updating stuff. That's literally what they need to do. So
yeah, and as far as them buying, 2K buying exclusive license, you guys got to remember too, and I know it could just be a statement, but y'all have to remember, man, that kind of stuff comes with the actual league. It's not like 2K could just jump in and buy the license. The NBA is deciding to have more than one product. Same way the NFL did. It's just that, there was this discrepancy. with 2K and the NFL after they chose to sell 2K5 for $19.99, and you know the relationship hasn't been the same. It's just that simple. We always have to remember, and I say we because we're all a collective here. The NFL is responsible for us only having one football game. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, 2K could actually make a game. They actually could right now. I don't think they're really concerned with it. Just to be honest, you got this cash cow, or you got your baby in basketball. You're leading that race. You're selling tons of units. From a business standpoint, let's be honest. And we can end the show with this. We all want competition. We all do. But let's be real. These companies might be looking at it like, Madden got it. Think about it. I'm talking from a company standpoint, from an investor call type standpoint. They could easily be looking at it like, man, EA got it. The NFL is doing so many things with them. They got this, they got that. They're giving all this money away in these tournaments, et cetera, et cetera. The household name, the players. You understand what I'm saying? So 2K and whoever else could jump in and make another game, probably looking at it like, man, like that hill is too steep to climb, because us guys in this community want another game, right? But the millions upon millions of people that's buying Madden, they could care less. You feel me? They could care less. They're not going to just play another game because they don't care. They love Madden. So that's what we all got to remember. So unfortunately, we might just always have Madden NFL football and no other football game. As far as NFL, that could very well be. That's the truth of it. So, hey, it is what it is, man. And all we could do is continue to fight, get what we want, and maybe one day we'll be satisfied to the point where we would say, oh, it'd be nice to have competition, but I'm good with this. It'll be great for us to get to that point. And when we get there, I'm cool with that if there's not going to be any competition. So that's all I got for y'all, man. Smitty, you got any last words before we sign out of here?
No, other than, thanks a lot, y'all, for coming through, hanging out with us, dialoguing with us. We had a great time, like always, had a lot of fun. And can't wait to do it again next week.
Absolutely, man. We definitely appreciate you guys coming through. Shout outs to 757, shout outs to Zulu and everybody else, who also just gave comments here. That's what makes the show, man. You guys' comments. Again, I'm going to remind you guys every week, please give us topics, anything you would love us to discuss, or if you want to be a part of the show as a panelist, not just a call-in, let us know in advance. We're on every Thursday, in case there's a situation where one of us is not available, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let us know in enough time, and we'll have you on. I will say this in advance. I will not be able to attend the show on the 15th. I'll actually be in Vegas then. We're going on a little vacation from the 15th, excuse me, to the 20th. So that Thursday is the 15th. Well, Wednesday, I'm sorry, is the 15th. The 16th is that Thursday. That's a show I won't be able to attend, obviously. So we'll let you know that in advance. But outside of that, man, we're here every week. Even when I'm not able to attend, a lot of times Smitty hosts the show himself, and he'd be happy to have some of you guys come on and be a part of that. All right, so see you guys later. Good luck to all of you guys' teams. This week I could sit back and just be an actual fan of football and not have any stress attacks watching my team play. So hope everybody is safe, man. Be easy, and we'll see you guys back next week at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.
Peace.